Welcome to the February edition of Madison Magazine. I'm Dina Wright. Coming up, some very special guests. We'll give a pop quiz to Madison School Superintendent Jennifer Cheatham. Madison Magazine columnist Rebecca Ryan and the UW's Don Krim will match wits on With All Due Respect. And the Reverend Dr. Alex G. is sounding off in Last But Not Least. But first, it's been 14 years since Luis and Lupita Montoto came to Madison with a dream to launch a Spanish-language radio station. Now, more than a decade since first going on the air, La Movida has become a galvanizing force and a crucial voice for Madison's growing Latino community. And it all happens in a building that I just happen to be pretty familiar with. Well, here I am, back in my old stomping grounds. Still feel pretty comfortable next to this microphone. You know, I worked at several radio stations across the country, Denver, Detroit, Philadelphia. I worked in Los Angeles at Stevie Wonder's radio station and in the #1 market, New York City. And of course, I worked right here in this building for Midwest Family Broadcasting, in fact, right down the hall. And while I was here, I was really intrigued by the city's only Spanish-speaking radio station, La Movida.
De La Movida, ya veo que Dina me está moviendo. Saludos a toda la gente que nos sintoniza. Recuerden, 608-321-1480 para que nos llamen directamente aquí en el estudio o desde Rackford al 815-874-1330. Esa es La Movida.
So we're here inside the La Movida studios talking to Lupita Montoto, and she's the midday air personality here on the radio station. So Lupita, La Movida is the very first Spanish-speaking radio station in the city. What does La Movida mean?
The meaning is the move. And you know, the move in English, for us, La Movida has several meanings. Like as an immigrants, we move from our countries into USA. That will be one meaning. But the main meaning of the La Movida on the radio station is because of the music.
La Movida is part of Midwest Family Broadcasting, which owns over 40 stations in the Midwest and 7 right here in Madison. President Tom Walker recalls how he and Luis Montoto grew the station from its humble beginnings.
I want to explore not doing it just on Saturdays or on Sundays or 3 hours here or 3 hours there. I want to explore doing this thing as a full-blown 24/7 Latino radio station. And he taught us how to do Latino radio. We taught him how to do radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So it's been a great collaborative effort.
It's been a riot.
Getting the station off the ground wasn't always fun and games. There was a lot of skepticism about whether a station like La Movida could survive in Madison.
Luis, there's not a full-time Spanish radio station in Milwaukee. What makes you think that there will be a successful one in Madison? One of the persons that is very responsible for this is Tom Walker.
I asked Tom Walker if he feels La Movida has been a welcomed addition to Midwest Family Broadcasting.
Absolutely. But there were days. You know, some of the employees here are more open to diversity than others. And you know, they hear Spanish being spoken in the hallways, and they're seeing people that are different.
Unfortunately, La Movida's success has not translated into opportunities for other people of color at Walker's company. But Walker says he is open to discussions on ways to increase diversity in his company. And for her part, Lupita Montoto says she's always felt welcomed.
I'm a very positive person, and I don't have that perspective. And if there's somebody else that didn't, see us that way, it's their problem, because I feel inclusive in this company, and this is my family, Midwest Family Broadcasting.
Lupita says she considers her listeners family too. Spanish-speaking stations usually have the greatest TSL, or time spent listening, and it's my understanding that folks that listen to the station listen for a long time. I'm talking 25, 30 hours a week.
What I usually say, Dina, is that La Movida is more than just a radio station. It's a way of life. It's the Latino community wakes up in the morning listening to the station while they're preparing breakfast, while they're driving in their car to work, while they're at work.
So it's really important to have something in your own language when you fully understand what they're talking about.
It's Mexican music. I grew up listening to when I was a kid, when my family came from Guadalajara. So that's the only station that I know that plays it in Madison.
we have a loyal listeners, you know. Our audience is very loyal, I could say, and it's very grateful for us because having that, maintaining the listenerships is something good because that gives us to prove and give results to our clients or our customers.
But my concern was that we weren't getting that many people, so that's why we went to La Movida and tried to advertise with them. And lately I've seen a lot more people coming in.
If you're going to advertise, you need to go to La Movida because they've helped my business grow so much. I stand behind them 100%.
It's kind of a mutual admiration society. While listeners and advertisers believe in La Movida also believes in its advertisers and listeners.
We want to educate, we want to empower them. If we have a strong Latino community, we have a strong Latino radio station, and that's key.
Tom Walker says that La Movida has had a major and lasting impact on Madison's Latino community.
The Latino Chamber of Commerce celebrated its 10th anniversary. La Movida's been on the air 11 years. I can't create a causal relationship, but I will venture to guess that having something galvanizing like a Latino radio station did a lot to help organize the community to create its own Chamber of Commerce and move ahead.
While Luis says that the station is not necessarily the voice for all area Latinos, in many ways, it's the only voice that the Latino community hears.
I mean, for our general public, you've got how many TV channels, you got how many radio stations, and what formats do you want it? But for the Latino community, it's La Movida.
The power of La Movida's voice travels well beyond the Latino community.
I think we are just one community, and we have to be that way because we work together with the white community, with the African American community, with the Asian community. At the end of the day, we have the same needs. We are looking for the same things. We want to, achieve our goals.
And whether you understand the language or not, if your radio is tuned to 1480, I'll tell you, the music will definitely have you moving.
People actually do have an interest in our music, even those who actually can't understand a thing or what those songs are actually saying.
La Movida, donde si la mueves?
Donde si la mueves.
And what does that mean?
Where you will move it.
And
That's precisely what you were doing.
And we are moving it, right?
That's what precisely you were doing, moving
La
it.
Movida is on the move. I can't wait to see what happens in the years to come.
Good things, hopefully. The Latino community is growing, and we hope to grow with it.
Thanks a lot. Have
Gracias.
A good, gracias.
Gracias. This is how Latinos are.
Are you laughing at me? While continuing to serve the Madison area, La Movida itself has been on the move. Last June, La Movida became the first Spanish-language radio station in Rockford. And the Montotos say they've got bigger plans on the horizon. Can't wait to see what's next. What's next for us? Well, we've got local author Rebecca Ryan squaring off with UW's Dawn Krim in this month's With All Due Respect. Keep it here.
Madison Magazine is brought to you by Smart Toyota and University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Welcome back to Madison Magazine. Dawn Krim and Rebecca Ryan know a thing or two about the UW-Madison and the educated workforce that it cultivates. So it's no surprise that higher education is where we begin this month With All Due Respect.
Hi, Dina. So, Dawn, with all due respect, Citizen Dave wrote an article about a year ago. It was the cover for the Isthmus, and he talked about the future of higher education. And he came pretty close, about this close, to saying he didn't think UW was going to be able to make the turn to the future of education. What do you say?
Well, you know, I think he's looking at massive online open courses. And really, that's when people are offering a wide variety of courses for free to get their numbers up. We're in that space. We're doing it. We, this year, launched Video Games and Learning, had 40,000 people sign up, 17,000 complete. So we're there.
Okay, but with all due respect, when it comes to changing an engineering curriculum, sometimes professors say it takes us 5 years to get the curriculum changed through the process. Is that true?
No, and I say no that emphatically because we are experimenting with blended learning. We're experimenting with different variety of distance learning. Okay. So it really is more widely defined than narrowly defined.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you right, your money's on the UW, and my money should be on the UW too.
You're taxpayers. We're using your money wisely.
Use it wisely. Fair enough. All right, let's move up the chain just for a second. Let's talk about young professionals. Now, you know that we have been doing research on quality of life for many, many years and really studying what's coming next. And we did some research including Madison and some of the other Big Ten schools, and Madison was tied for first in quality of life for young professionals. I have a feeling that you might disagree with that assessment.
Well, you know, I in all due respect, I appreciate your work. But when you think about Madison, yes, it's a wonderful place, but it really is a wonderful place for the majority culture. When you're looking at social outlets for Hispanic, African-American individuals, where people go in, where you're having your fun, the quality of life and those 7 indicators, I would say, is lower for your communities of color. So it's really trying to figure out, as you do your work, how to help communities make those indicators higher for communities of color.
Okay, fair enough. So, you know, some people say, well, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, should it be its own thing, or do we need to be more integrated? And what do you say?
I think it should be its own thing, just like the African American Business Association has its own. Because I think you want to first have your numbers, you want to submit your businesses, you want to help people get started, and then you move to the larger. Because if you start at the larger, it's just like at the workplace, where the majority culture is 90–95%, and then you have a handful of individuals of color participating. We need to really get set, get launched, get started, and then work together.
All right, so this brings us to the Race to Equity report. You and I are aligned that we do not want to study this issue to death. Something has to get done.
We do not need another report. What we need are outcomes. We need people to get hired in businesses. So when you talk about where communities of colors are on the quality of index rating, if people are employed, you have more housing. If people are employed, people aren't incarcerated. If people are employed, kids are going to school and engaging. It's both and. We don't need to keep talking about it. We need some action.
So where do we start? Some people say, well, you start with leadership, and other people say, no, you start at the grassroots. What do you say?
Well, I think, you know, people say, what can I do? If you walk in your workplace and you look around and everybody looks like you have to ask yourself, why is this? We have the UW, Edgewood, Madison College. People are going through college. There are people graduating. Why aren't they working?
Right on. So let's get some outcomes.
Thanks a bunch, Don and Rebecca. Coming up next, with the help of some special guests, we're putting Madison School Superintendent Jennifer Cheatham to the test. Come on back. You know, it's been almost a year since Jennifer Cheatham started on the job as Madison's new school superintendent. She's been kind of busy since moving here from Chicago, but she found time to answer some questions from us and also some questions from some area students. One of the kids that I met with actually has a question for you.
Oh, good.
My name is Javario Willis, 7th grade, Senate Middle School, and I want to know, why aren't the black kids doing as well as the white kids?
Yeah, that's the question, right?
That's the question of the day.
Yeah, we are absolutely obsessed with making sure that all of our students are achieving.
But they're not.
But they're not. And I think that there are several reasons achievement gaps narrow when we provide a coherent instructional program for our students.
Now, do you think the achievement gap is more about race or class, or is it more about the intersectionality of the two?
I think it's definitely about the intersection.
Let's see what our next question is.
Hi, my name is Muna Ali. I'm 12th grade at Memorial High School. And my question is, how will you help students who come from another different countries who doesn't speak English as their first language?
That's great. So I mentioned earlier that we're working on really improving our programs to support English language learners. And I think our community agrees, we believe that students all students actually would benefit from being bilingual, bicultural, biliterate.
Now, this middle school student has another question for you.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Rachel Herr. I'm a 6th grader at Spring Harbor Middle School. My question is, what is being done to stop the bullying at middle schools?
We've gone district-wide with a curriculum that's totally focused on building students' social emotional learning skills, which addresses bullying.
Now, research, of course, has shown that when parents get involved in their kids' education, not only do the test scores go up, but the disciplinary problems go down. The report does indicate that the plan to develop family engagement strategies for each school is a little behind schedule. And what do you say to a parent that's watching that says, I really want to be involved, but I don't know how to do it?
Yeah, again, I mean, this is one of the things that we are still learning about as a district. So I don't think we have all the answers there yet.
Any idea when you will have the answers? I mean, what do you tell folks that say, we really can't wait any longer? Our kids are not achieving, our kids are not being successful.
Yeah.
And we want some answers. What do you say to those folks?
I think it's a great question. The parent engagement standards that we're setting for a district are actually all in draft form. We're just working them through to make sure that they are strong and truly represent what we believe and value as a community around parent engagement.
How important do you think that is specifically for students of color to get their kids enrolled in 4-year-old kindergarten?
Oh, it's incredibly important. Early childhood education, if there is a silver bullet, and there really isn't, but if there were one, when it comes to closing the achievement gap, it is early childhood education.
Hi, my name is Fatima Tabara, and I go to O'Keefe Middle School, and I'm a 7th grader. My question is, are you going to get rid of teachers who aren't doing their job well?
Every one of us, me included, are expected to perform our jobs well. And I think that, I think these instances are few and far between, as in most professions. But, this job is, it's not a right, it's a privilege.
The district recently released its first quarterly report on Superintendent Cheatham's strategic framework. You can check it out online and give your feedback. Don't do that just yet, though. We're coming back with Dr. Alex G. in Last But Not Least.
Welcome back to Madison Magazine. I'm Alex G., a lifelong resident of Madison. I'm also the pastor of the Fountain of Life Covenant Church, and I'm the CEO and founder of the Nehemiah Center for Urban Leadership Development. Now, I've been told that I've recently stirred things up a bit with my Cap Times essay entitled Justified Anger. In it, I talked about some of the not-so-pretty aspects of our community in that piece. And I mentioned the recent Race to Equity report that makes clear what many of us have said for years, that we have a tale of two cities right here in Madison. In many areas, the gaps between whites and blacks is alarming, upsetting, and even an embarrassment. Apparently, Dane County is ground zero for African American males. So how do we get here? How do we start burying our heads in the sand and blaming outsiders? Madison, we know how to care for outsiders. I'm a product of Madison's care and concern for all residents. My mother moved here nearly 50 years ago as a single mom fleeing a domestic violence situation. She sent herself to college and received her bachelor's and her master's from the University of Wisconsin. She sent both of her children to the University of Wisconsin, and we have degrees as well. My sister, Laleda, who's being featured on the cover of Madison Magazine this month, taught me an important lesson. She said, when you're in a counseling situation and your client is saying something that you can't really relate to, you should scoot your chair closer because the extension of the body language gives the impression that you're concerned and you want to dialogue. We need to learn how to scoot closer in this community. Let's stop being so paralyzed. Let's stop being afraid to talk with each other. Let's talk. Let's connect. Let's do something. Let's inspire hope and a real sense of community. I want to close with this poem that I've written. It's called, Are We There Yet? Society asks, aren't we there yet? With social programs, aren't we fair yet? Can't we get the poor out our hair yet and teach our men to grow a pair yet? Never mind their pain that still needs to be aired yet. So we hog up resources like we've none to spare yet. And we ask this question like we're not aware yet. If this were your son, would we be there yet? Society asked, aren't we there now? So doors close and kids ask where now? And if we let our kids quit school, they haven't a prayer now. And if we're not careful to closely beware now. With failing schools, our kids won't compare now. And if you think we have despair now, let government, churches, and business keep up their hot air now. It's too much late in the game to simply coach from the chair now. So let's get in the trenches and help kids prepare now. If you really want to know if we're there yet, we must band together and boldly declare it. Though things may be grim, they're not irreparable yet. Let's extend our hands to families ensnared yet. These are all our sons and daughters. Of course we're not there yet. Please join me for a town hall meeting on Saturday, February 15th from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Fountain of Life Church to hear what I think the next steps should look like. If you have any questions or comments, email us at justifiedanger@nehemiah.org.
Thanks, Dr. G. Well, that about wraps it up for us this month. Be sure to check us out at MadisonMagazine.com for any part of the show you'd like to see again. Give us a like on Facebook or tweet us your story ideas or comments. We'll see you March 1st.
Madison Magazine is brought to you by Smart Toyota and University of Wisconsin-Madison.